He turned his head to the side, and I knew my beautiful, happy, innocent baby boy was about to die in my arms. Just 12 hours ago, we were laughing, making silly faces, enjoying a beautiful road trip, and I was so proud because I was taking my son, my one miracle, on a fairy tale winter weekend to the mountains. A trip that I had promised to take him for so long, something he wanted from the bottom of his tiny, sweet, and lovely heart. A journey where I wanted to teach him how to ski and sled and make snowmen. A fairy tale weekend that turned into a nightmare in the blink of an eye. Because of me. Nothing in my life could have ever prepared me for that night. There was so much snow and the blizzard was so intense I couldn't see 3 feet in front of me. But the cockiness of the role model hero father in me pushed me to drive further up the mountain instead of turning back. And back then, I was lying to myself that I didn't want to disappoint the little guy. But now I know, it was just my manly pride that was driving me. Drive the car.
Please click on the link below the video to watch the full content, if you are interested.
We started off early in the morning under the shiny winter sun. 2 happy boys enjoying their first trip alone. A trip I thought would bring us closer to each other. A trip where I could really show my son how cool his daddy really is. We started making jokes about who'll slide down the slope faster. I'd say I'll win, and Josh was jumping up and down saying, "No, I'll win." Then we decided we'll both cross our imaginative finish line together. But who would build the biggest snowman? I would. No, Josh would. And so our day passed, stopping at gas stations for snacks and laughing all the way into the night. As we started going up the mountain, the weather changed, but I couldn't see it. I was blinded by the joy and happiness and pride of taking my little guy, hopefully one day my reflection, on his first trip to the mountains. We were about to sleep in an actual lodge, a wooden cabin. How cool was that for 2 city boys? It was around 7 p.m. when the first snowflakes started melting off the windshield. But that was nothing. We were actually happy. Not only were we going to be in a lodge, but we would also have snow adding to the awesomeness of our trip. We were unstoppable. Yes, Daddy was unstoppable. Daddy was the greatest. But Daddy was not prepared for the white hell that was about to be unleashed upon us. It only took 20 minutes for those beautiful, heavy, mushy snowflakes to turn into a full-blown blizzard of the likes I had never seen before. But we were still safe in our car, and even though I couldn't see 3 feet in front of me, in my mind I could still see the road, and I knew we were getting close. So I just said to myself, "Ryan, you can do this. Don't let him down," and I pushed on. I looked back at Josh and asked him if he's tired. He said, "I'm okay, Daddy. I love you." And I remember feeling so good for a second, something that reminded me of a roller coaster ride. Then everything went dark. I could hear someone crying in the distance. It took me a few seconds to understand that it was Josh who was crying. He looked like he was upside down. But why? That just didn't make any sense. Why would he be upside down? And why was everything so cold? Then I realized. I was hanging half out the windshield. My head was killing me. I felt something warm running down my face, a metallic smell. It was blood. Josh was still strapped in his seat, hanging upside down, scared to death. We'd crashed. Our car had flipped on the roof. One bend, one moment of distraction, one breath, and my whole life changed. I tried calming Josh first. "Daddy's here. Everything is okay. We are safe. Nothing bad happened. We're going to be all right." I crawled and freed him from his seatbelt and dragged him out. It was pitch black. I could barely make sense of what was going on around me. I wiped my face, looked around stunned, and I started to understand the gravity of the situation. We had just barely survived a crash in the middle of nowhere, in the middle of the night, halfway up the mountain, in a full-blown blizzard. I was severely hurt. Josh was in shock, shivering, and his beautiful face was half covered in blood. It was bad, but what followed crushed my soul. I held him in my arms to try and calm him down, and the only words he would say were, "Daddy, it hurts. I love you. Please make the pain go away. Daddy, it hurts. Please make it stop." I felt helpless and lost. Call for help. I have to call for help. I checked my pockets. I checked inside the car and in the glove compartment, and I couldn't find my phone. It was probably under 3 feet of snow in the ditch in front of us, or it might have been under the car or above it. I searched for it desperately for what felt like half an hour, but I never found it. I started weighing my options, either stay in the car and wait or try to find the cabin and call for help from there. I couldn't risk staying in the car. I had no idea the extent of the wounds Josh and I had, but I could stand up and I could walk. So I just wrapped Josh in a blanket and started going up the road. I remembered the GPS showing me only a few miles to our destination. I couldn't remember exactly how many, but it kind of felt like a one-digit number. So I started walking with my baby boy in my arms, hoping for a car or for a snowplow or anything that might help us to show up. But nothing did. I dragged my feet for what felt like miles, and at that point I wasn't sure if we were still on the road anymore. I could barely see anything through the darkness, a flicker here and there. I was desperately lost. But I kept Josh talking, telling him this would be an adventure to remember. But in my heart, doubt had started to dwell. Doubt that we'd make it through the night. After a while, I was so cold I couldn't feel my arms and I couldn't feel my legs. It felt like I was walking on wooden stilts. Then I realized that Josh hadn't said a word for some time. I shook him and called him. I even yelled at him. But he just turned his head to the side in silence.
Please click on the link below the video to watch the full content. If you are interested,